What if I told you that Cambodia is the ultimate paradise? Well, stay tuned to find out how to make the most of your trip to Cambodia, get essential travel tips for your stay, and how to avoid common mistakes first-time travelers make. And of course, this video will be filled with price breakdowns, useful information, and stunning scenery to prepare you for your trip. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with planning your vacation, then you need to watch this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, I'm Jasmine. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's go. Cambodia is located in Southeast Asia and is known for its rich cultural heritage and ancient history. Bordered by Thailand to the northwest, Laos to the northeast, Vietnam to the east, and the Gulf of Thailand to the southwest, Cambodia has a diverse landscape that includes the Mekong River and the awe-inspiring Angkor Wat Temple, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Despite its tumultuous past marked by the Khmer Rouge regime, Cambodia has become a popular destination for travelers seeking a mix of historical intrigue and natural beauty. The warm hospitality of its people, the vibrant markets, and the stunning coastline, which has amazing white sand beaches and coral reefs, make Cambodia the perfect destination to visit. So let's get into the things you need to know before you go. Firstly, you will need a visa to visit Cambodia. It's super simple, and you can purchase a tourist visa on arrival for $30, or you can purchase one online in advance through the Cambodian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. The tourist visa is valid for 30 days, however, it can be extended easily. I prefer to do this in advance so I know it's done. Another thing you should know is the Cambodian riel is the country's official currency. However, the US dollar is used pretty much everywhere. Riels are generally used for small transactions under $1, and the dollars are more for hotels and restaurants. It's typical to pay in US dollars and receive change in riels. And keep in mind that ATMs are not easily found and the withdrawal fees can be quite a lot, so it's better to have the cash before you go. You may have thought about what vaccinations you'll need for visiting Cambodia, but there's no mandatory vaccinations here, although it's recommended to be immunized against hepatitis A, tetanus, and diphtheria. Cambodia's medical care system is underdeveloped, so it's important to get travel insurance to protect yourself in case of illness or an accident. The official language is Khmer. However, most young people speak English, and Cambodians speak far better English than Thai and Laos, so communication is pretty easy. You might be thinking, okay, so it's cheap once I'm there, but how much will the flights be? There are so many websites to book your flights, and it can be scary to know which one is best. You can spend hours searching for the best deals. So to make it easier, I would recommend using Skyscanner or Google Flights to find the best deals. The best time to book for the cheapest price is 3 to 9 months before you fly. Airlines usually increase prices as the departure date approaches, so waiting until the last minute may actually result in a more expensive flight. Oh, and usually, airfare prices are lower on Tuesdays and Wednesdays compared to the rest of the week. So keep that in mind and try and be flexible if you can. Flights to Cambodia will vary a lot depending on where you are flying from, the time of year, day of the week, and what airline you choose, so it's hard to say how much exactly it costs. But on average, a round-trip flight from the UK to Cambodia could range from £500 to £1,000 or more, depending on the factors mentioned. For flights from the USA to Cambodia, the average cost can range from $800 to $1,500 or more for a round-trip ticket. These are just a general estimate, and prices may vary depending on the factors mentioned, so it's essential to use flight comparison websites, consider different airlines, and be flexible with travel dates to find the best deals. Figuring out when and where exactly you should visit can be the most difficult to figure out when booking your vacation. The best time to visit Cambodia is any time between November and April for the best weather where it's not too sunny and not so gloomy, just beautiful blue skies every day. There are a few places which I would recommend you check out. Firstly, you have Siem Reap, the city nearest to Angkor Wat. So if you're planning to visit there, then staying in this area is best. And the town itself has a vibrant atmosphere with cool markets, restaurants, and cultural experiences. It also has a wide range of accommodations from budget to luxury, and a variety of dining options. Another great place to stay is Phnom Penh, the capital city of Cambodia. This place offers a mix of historical and modern attractions, and has a dynamic culinary scene and a lively riverfront. It's also a good central location for exploring other parts of the country. Here, accommodation prices vary, with budget options starting at around $20 per night and higher-end hotels reaching $150 or more. Food and transportation costs are moderate too. Cambodia has many other amazing destinations, So consider your interests and preferences when choosing the best area for your vacation. For example, Koh Rong is perfect for couples as it's quite a romantic setting, with pristine beaches, scenic boat tours, and my favorite part of this area is that the waters here have bioluminescent plankton, and at night the waters light up with the glow of these tiny organisms. It's a really cool and unforgettable experience to see. Alternatively, you have Kampot, which is one of the coolest places to stay and is better for those on a budget. It's situated along the beautiful Kampot River, providing a tranquil and scenic setting, as well as having well-preserved French colonial architecture, adding a historical and charming element to its streets. Kampot has a very laid-back and relaxed atmosphere, which makes it an ideal place for those looking to escape the hustle and bustle of busier cities. The town's slower pace allows for a more peaceful and enjoyable experience, in my opinion. One place you should avoid is Sihanoukville. It used to be beautiful and the go-to beach hotspot, but it's now just an overdeveloped mess of Chinese-built casinos and hotels. It's honestly awful there now. It's basically a huge construction site, full of half-finished skyscrapers, unfinished roads, forced-out locals, and there's a surge in violent crime, so unless you want to visit one of the islands nearby, I would avoid this area completely. Now, what is there to do? There is a ton of stuff to do here, let me tell you. And there really is something for everybody, so let's start with the most obvious. Siem Reap is home to one of the world's most famous tourist attractions, which you will probably have heard of already. Angkor Wat. It will be on just about everyone's to-do list when they are in town, and is what brings most people to Cambodia. So keep in mind that it will most likely be super busy, unless you visit the temples at sunrise, which sucks having to get up at like 6 a.m. But trust me, it's worth it, as you see the sun emerge from behind its spires. It's so beautiful. Expect some crowds at this time. But once you have experienced the sunrise, most of the other tourists won't have arrived yet, so you can wander the temples in relative peace. If you didn't already know, Angkor Wat is huge. The main temple that appears in most photos is just a tiny part of the 400 square kilometer site. But thanks to its huge size, there are loads of areas of Angkor Wat to check out, and there are numerous ruins that are very peaceful and not so crowded during the day. Just keep in mind that this isn't a free activity, and you will require a pass to enter, which you can buy on the day, or pre-book online. It costs $37 for this Angkor Pass. For those who love to hike, then you should head to Bokor National Park. Here you can wander among the atmospheric French ruins while hiking around the rainforest. Bokor was a big destination for the French aristocracy in the early 20th century, and Bokor Hill Station has the remains of an abandoned luxury resort and casino that was later used as a hideout by the Khmer Rouge, which is pretty interesting to see. It's also free to enter here and walk around. Another thing you should do whilst in Cambodia is to visit a river village. There's always boats filled with people selling trinkets, food, and hanging out. It's a really nice experience to see the locals here, who, by the way, are so friendly and welcoming. If you do find yourself in Sihanoukville and want to leave because it's so bad there, then head 3 hours east where you will find Kep. It's a quaint beach town, which is a quieter, nicer version of Sihanoukville. It's famous for its pepper crab and empty beaches. There isn't a lot to do here other than walk around Kep National Park, which has incredible views over the water and surrounding jungle. Another place you should check out is Chuang Ek, known as the Killing Fields, which might not be the most cheery way to spend an afternoon, but it makes for a harrowing and memorable experience. And you can't fully understand modern Cambodia without learning about Pol Pot and the violence of the Khmer Rouge, which was responsible for killing millions of people during their reign of terror. One last place I will mention is the Bayon Temple. It's known for its carved faces on different towers. This is one of the temples that you shouldn't miss during your trip. You can get there on a tuk-tuk from Siem Reap. Tickets cost $37 and visit in the afternoon to avoid the crowds. When visiting a new country for the first time, it's essential to know some basic tips and be prepared before you get there. I mentioned earlier about the currency, but there are some other things to keep in mind and be aware of. Most places want you to pay in US dollars but then give you change in real. So then you end up with a pocket full of real that is extremely hard to get rid of. And if you do happen to be given change in dollars, then check the notes. If they are torn or damaged, then hand it back, as this is basically worthless. If you pay in dollars and the note is not pristine, then it won't be accepted and you can end up with cash that is essentially just paper at that point. So always check your change. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you do visit the temples, make sure to fully cover your knees and shoulders. As Buddhism is the primary religion here, it's offensive to the culture if you try to walk into a temple with your knees and shoulders showing, especially if you're a woman. Make sure to either bring a cover-up, otherwise you might end up having to buy a sarong, or you won't be allowed to enter. The most common transport here is the tuk-tuks, which are super useful, and I urge you to use them, but like with everything else, you do need to be aware that sometimes these drivers will try to get you to pay them before they've taken you anywhere. Please don't do this, as you're more likely to be scammed. Only pay them once you have arrived at your destination. There have been times where the driver just leaves with your money or kicks you out halfway there, or demand more to take you all the way, so just find a driver that won't hassle you into paying up front. Another tip for you is that when you're in a tourist area, you will likely see some children hanging around and approaching people, asking them to buy things like postcards or other trinkets. They have to help them pay for school or something similar. This just isn't true. They are used in scams, and I know it can be hard to ignore a cute kid asking for help, but seriously, please don't buy anything for or from the children on the streets. Another thing, you will be offered elephant rides everywhere, but please don't do them. It's really painful for the animals. And the elephants are actually snatched from their mothers after birth and trained and tortured to be fit for riding. So please don't promote such inhumanity by being a part of it. Also, don't drink the tap water, it's not safe to drink. And if you do, it can cause a severely upset stomach. So just buy a few big bottles from the store, they aren't expensive. When you visit anywhere in Cambodia, you will see monks pretty much everywhere. But do not disrespect them. Seriously, you need to respect the local culture here. And by this, I mean, don't just start taking photos of them without permission first. Or, if you're female, then you should avoid touching or sitting too close to them. And when talking to a seated monk, sit first and then converse. It's so important to know how to behave around them without offending anyone. One last thing I will mention is about safety. I know a lot of people think that Cambodia is unsafe, and I understand why. Unfortunately, many people here live close to or below the poverty line, which leads to petty theft and bag snatching being common. And honestly, the scooter snatchers are a real problem here. So keep your bags close and hold on to them. Also, if you are walking around rural areas, watch out for snakes and other wildlife, which can be dangerous. And don't walk around at night if you're alone. Cambodia is such an amazing country to experience. And knowing these tips before going can really improve your visit. I hope this video has helped with planning your trip, got you excited to visit, or maybe even inspired you to book your next vacation here. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more travel guides and insider tips, and I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, stay safe, guys.